Everyone, Nikisa Badarian and Jake Paul. Let's go,
Thank
Jake.
you, everybody, for being here. First of all, thank you to the Honda Center for having us. Proud to say in over 60 events at this venue, we broke the record with a gate of 1.57 million with an average ticket price of $159. So in this environment, to be able to achieve that for Jake Paul, once again, defying the odds. Ryan Garcia headlined here, Canelo headlined here, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal headlined here, and he set the record. Also want to thank DAZN for their partnership. It's always great to work with them, and I think we had a very successful night in pay-per-view. In terms of Jake's commercial pay-per-view track record, this event was only behind Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. So once again, an amazing performance, and now showing he's doing it against the boxers. Before I hand it over to Jake, I just want to say one thing. He fought a 39-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and Zurdo Ramirez fought a 39-year-old opponent. Jake Paul thoroughly outclassed his opponent. Zurdo did not in his, 50th fight, or whatever the number of fights are that Zurdo has had. So before people online start to criticize that Jake isn't ready to be champion, they should look at exactly who was his co-main, the person he was fighting, the experience that Zurdo has, and what Jake Paul showed tonight.
Thank you. That was a very kind intro. We love you, Nikisa.
Questions, please.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Marcus Hayes will fight out TV. Nikisa, with everything that you just said, let's get to business. What does a fight with Jake Paul and Zurdo Ramirez look like with the caliber and the acumen that Zurdo already has shown?
I think the biggest issue with that fight, to be honest with you, is that Zurdo didn't show himself to be at all a promoter in this process, right? When you look at this fight week, we said to Golden Boy multiple times, why aren't we seeing more out of Zurdo? Why isn't he more engaged with the fans? And that, to me, is a big part of making that massive championship moment for Jake. He ultimately has to make the decision, but someone like Badu Jack is also someone that we want to have a conversation with, because both of these guys, I don't think, are great promoters, so we're going to make the right choice. Jake?
Yeah, we still want to get it done, though. I'm used to these guys not being good promoters, but at the end of the day, I'm going to fight all of these guys. I feel like tonight was just the first day of my boxing career, and I just got warmed up, and now this is the chapter 2 moving forward.
And lastly, what was it like having an audience with such a string tonight? I don't know if you noticed. Every move, every ebb, every flow, there were so many ups and downs and pops during this fight. Were you able to enjoy and experience any of that while you were in the ring tonight?
Yeah, no, I felt the crowd's energy, even though they were against me. I love it. I feed off of that. And I think it's funny when I'm landing, however many punches I land, 250 or 200, and he landed whatever, like 100, but they just scream every single time he lands a punch. But at the end, they were quiet. So that's how it goes always.
But that shows you the mental toughness of Jake Paul, to your question, right? For this young man to consistently go in, not in Puerto Rico, they love him in Puerto Rico, but to consistently go in around the U.S. and be treated like the underdog in that arena and not being supported the right way, and for him to persevere and to be cool, calm, collected, and composed and deliver is pretty amazing.
Hey, Jake, right over here to your right. Andreas L. from ESPN. Listen, the last time you fought a fighter that had a lot of pressure towards you was Tommy Fury. You looked a lot different tonight. And people still go back to that fight and say, well, he couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Talk about how much different you are of a fighter now as opposed to when you fought Tommy.
I don't even think I was a fighter then. I was like 2.5 years into the sport. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the proper team around me, the proper conditioning. My lifestyle outside of the ring was still that of like a YouTuber, celebrity actor, whatever I was at that point in time. So I wasn't fully focused on boxing. Like I said, feels like chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026. and we're going to meet with Matchroom while we're in New York to promote the greatest trilogy in the history of boxing, Taylor
Let's go.
Serrano 3.
Last question, Nikisa. This one's for you because I was going to bring up the Joshua thing. I know you've talked to Eddie Hearn in the past. Do you think they're keen on taking that fight? And Jake, this is also to you. Moving back up to heavyweight, like how did you feel coming back down and moving back up?
No, I'm definitely not a heavyweight, but I'm still going to take the challenge. But, you know, you look at Deontay Wilder, he was beating these guys weighing 215 pounds. So anything is granted, he's like 6'6" or something, but anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake, what was it like for you, especially like in the last 4 rounds where it was like toe to toe and you know the fists were flying?
It was great. You know, I love that he brought a good fight at the end, and I think that the fans got a good fight to see him come out, put some punches on me, and it makes me better. It brings the best out of me. I started catching his shots, shooting back, and I had to elevate tonight and rise to a different level, and I'm glad that the fans got to see me get punched in the face a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's good. I love a good fight.
You also went through VADA testing this camp. Now that I saw you posted something on
It's not
social
this
media.
camp. He's gone through full VADA testing multiple times,
How does
right?
it-
Tommy
how
Fury,
many
Nate
times do
Diaz,
they-
this fight.
Yeah. How many times do they typically test you when they put you through the ringer like that?
Yeah, it's random, and they can come 2-3 days in a row sometimes, and just as much as they want whenever they want. So people just always love to make rumors up about me, but I do drug testing, the commission drug testing right before the fight, all these types of things.
They
So-
should focus on Canelo and his team, not on Jake Paul. 'Cause
Yeah,
Jake
they just
Paul
pop.
has been clean
It's
time
so
and time
crazy.
again.
It's so crazy that people that actually pop for this shit, they don't call them out. And then I'm over here looking like a doughboy. I got love handles, dog. That's after not eating for fucking 3 weeks, basically. So if I was on that shit, it wasn't fucking working.
Hey, Jake, here. Ricardo Lopez, La Opinion, congratulations for the victory. What can you say about Julio, who last year was attending a rehab center? He was arrested. He was in a very dark phase of his life, and today he gave you a very competitive fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm very happy that Julio's in a better spot, and he came to fight tonight. He was in really good shape, and he's a warrior. And so I hope he keeps on that track and keeps on living a good life outside of the ring, and hopefully this can set him on a good path.
Jake, you made a pretty big case in the ring too. Like after goading the crowd and being a heel, you did pay tribute to Ben Askren and show your support there. What was it about that whole thing that we've learned this week that made you want to make that big message in the ring in front of all those people?
Well, I mean, it's just insane. Insurance is a fucking scam, and it's so sad. And right when you need these companies, they're not there, and it's fucked up. And his insurance denied him to get the double lung transplant, which is also one of the most expensive surgeries, which is why they denied it. And it just sucks. It sucks that no one's doing anything. I was obviously super busy this week, so we're figuring out the donation now, but none of these people like Dana or anyone's stepping in, so I feel like I have to do something, and that's really all it is.
And speaking of Dana, who do you think did better on pay-per-view tonight, you guys or the UFC?
I hope they did, because they've been around for 40 years, and they've been building this company a lot longer than we have. This young man is 13 fights into his career, and he's being mentioned in the same breath as UFC. He's being mentioned in the same breath as Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez, who've been doing this for 20-plus years. So hopefully for them, they did better than us. But for our little company with this young entrepreneur, the most professional boxer in professional boxing, we're doing pretty well.
Hey Jake, with your plans to face Zurdo and maybe Anthony Joshua in the future, is Canelo totally out of the picture in your boxing career plans?
No, he's not out of the picture. I think once I get the belt, he's going to want to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship and add that belt to his resume, and I think he would become like a 3 or 4 or 5 weight champion. So I think that would be what interests him. So that's the plan.
Hi, Jake, over here. First off, congratulations, Leo Orozco with the main event. You called out a lot of people tonight, but I want to know, out of all those people, what is your dream matchup for yourself, and what is your dream matchup for the sport of boxing? Like two people you think need to get in the ring with each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many names. To be honest, I like all of them. I like all of the fights. Anthony Joshua excites me. Avenging the Tommy loss excites me. Gervonta excites me. KSI, he'll never get into the ring with me. Zurdo excites me. Badu excites me. So there's a lot of amazing fights. But I think the fight I would like to see in boxing as a fan is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury.
Hi, Jake Paul. My name is Sasi with Elite Champ TV. That was an amazing performance between you and Cesar Chavez Jr. tonight. Now, in round 9, the heat really turned up. Did you feel the Mexican power that he promised, or do you feel like he didn't perform the way you thought that he would?
No, yeah, he brought a hard fight there at the end, and that's that Mexican warrior style. I don't know how he was eating all those punches, to be honest. My hands low-key hurt from his face. And so, respect to him. He had good cardio, and he came on strong at the end. He's a very, very strong guy, had a lot of power, but people underestimate my chin and my ability and my toughness.
Jake, Jonathan Agger of Pro Boxing Fans. During the week, you had a viral interview with Piers Morgan where he said that he didn't think that you would beat Chavez. He felt like when you fight a former world champion, you'll come unstuck. What did you prove to not only him but other people that have criticized you?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, so people can sit behind their desks and sit on their TV shows and say a lot of things about my career, but everyone's tuning in, everyone's watching, and I just continue to win.
And you mentioned Anthony Joshua. Does it end there? Would you want to bring Tyson Fury out of retirement?
Man, there's too many people for me to fight. I need more time. At the end of the day, that's the only thing I can't do is create more time. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, over here, Jake. Congratulations on your win. This is Abraham Gonzalez, Fights Around the World. I saw that after the second round, you made some adjustments in the ring. What was it that you saw from Chavez that maybe made you make some in-ring adjustments, or maybe there were some of the things that you were working on during training camp? Just kind of walk us through some of those tactics that you went through throughout the fight.
Yeah, no, I saw that he was trying to do these looping shots, and so I just had to keep my hands higher. And he was moving off to the side, and so I just had to move with him and get off to an angle. And then he had a good high guard, and he was starting to block the right hook. So that's when I started bringing the uppercut, which started landing. And then from there, he had to defend the uppercut and the right hook. So both of them started landing, and just kept on making adjustments. I saw that he was weak to the body, kept going to the body, just kept him hurting there the whole entire night, and just kept the jab going. That was pretty much it.
Hey, Jake Paul. First and foremost, congratulations. My name is Marcus Portillo with Fightbook. I just want to ask you, what is your why? What is getting you up in the morning? I mean, you have so much success already. You really don't need the sport of boxing, to be honest with you. So, like, what is driving you? What is pushing you through your day-to-day, man? I need to know, as a fighter, you know, as an influencer, as everything you've accomplished, what is your big why, man? What is your why?
It's a great question, and you're right. It is crazy, and I think for me, it's that God told me what my sacred responsibility was in a ceremony that I was doing. He said that you have to become world champion to inspire so many kids and create an amazing sports story. And so I set that goal for myself, and I want to be impeccable with my word and stay committed and prove to myself that I can do this and become world champion in the world's hardest sport in roughly 6 to 7 years, because I think it can be one of the most relatable and inspiring sports stories of all time, and no one thought it was possible. Nobody. Like, look, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people laughed at me. I'm going to lose to fucking Gibb, then Nate Robinson, then Ben. Come on. So at the end of the day, that's my why, and I'm dead set on becoming world champion.
But just on that point, it's a dual why, right? Because he's also doing it outside of the ring. There's literally no other fighter in the world active who's doing what he's doing at age 28 for other fighters. That's number one. Number two, there's literally no athlete in the world in history who has put on for the women of their sport the way that Jake Paul has, okay? And all you guys in the media don't recognize that enough. And I love the media. I encourage the media to be a part of our story, to be a part of our events. But you have to recognize what he's doing. No one, like even Kobe Bryant started adding to women's basketball as his daughters got into basketball. But that's it. There's Jake Paul, and there's no one else that's putting it on for the women like that. So I hope when we get to New York and he's there on the ground every year pushing for all those athletes, the media recognizes what this man has done.
Jake, just down here. Jake, there's a lot of talk before the fight about potentially getting ranked by the WBC and WBA, but it was performance-based. Do you think the fact that you actually went 10 rounds again would give you more chance of getting ranked than if you had just stopped him early?
Yeah, I think that people got to see more of a skill set from me tonight and some of the things that I've been working on and my toughness, the cardio, all of these things. So I think going 10 rounds was a great experience for me under the lights, and I think it could lead to a really good ranking because of what I was able to display. And really, from my memory, like he only hit me probably like 8 good times in a 10-round fight is pretty good.
How do you not rank him? Like, how do you not rank Jake Paul after that performance where he totally neutralized a much more experienced, accomplished fighter than himself?
When
right?
do you expect to find out whether he will get ranked? Did they communicate that?
No.
And if he does get ranked, then would that likely be the path or the goal is to get a world title fight next?
Yeah, man, that's the goal. That's why we're here. That's the only thing I haven't accomplished in the sport of boxing, right? Knockout of the year, most watched fight ever. That's the last thing on the list.
But everything's based on timing, right? The right opportunity has to exist at the right time, and there's other fights that come up that he may want to do in between. We'll look at those. One last question, Mike.
Right here. Simon Samano with MMA Junkie. Jake, you were just asked about your why, and you mentioned kids being a big part of the motivation. You used your time in the cage, not in the cage, sorry, MMA Junkie. You used your time in the ring afterwards, to send a message to kids about not giving up on their dreams. Why try to appeal to kids? Why is it so important to you to appeal to kids in that way?
Yes, kids need someone to look up to, and I think we're just in a system where you go to school and you do the same thing, and we're just printing out these cookie cutters of people, and they're not inspired to chase their dreams and to do what they want to do, and because of that, people aren't happy. They don't think it's possible, and a lot of times adults are already creating these ruts in their life every single day that they can't change, habits, thought patterns, all of these things. So I realized that with kids, you can actually have a bigger impact on them, and they can change who they are more easily and set themselves up for future success. And I guess a lot of it comes from no one being there for me as a kid or having a role model or someone that I could look up to, and I wish I had that. And so I guess now I feel like I need to do that back for people.
Do you feel like people would hear this from you and maybe be surprised, but you feel like you've been misunderstood this whole time as you've come up in boxing?
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, he's misunderstood, but his actions don't show misunderstanding. He's had boxing bullies for the past 3 years, and he's renovated over 15 gyms, right, giving back to the community, putting boxing gloves in the hands of kids, teaching them discipline, teaching them focus, teaching them how to become better young human beings. So it's not like he may be misunderstood because people aren't looking closely enough to see what he's been actually doing.
Yeah, I don't think people want to see that side. I think I have so many fans, but I also have so many haters, and I focus on the fans that are there all the time. Everywhere I go, in person, mobbed, can't go outside, all love, thousands of pictures if I go anywhere. So, like, I focus on that, but there's so many people in the shadows or bots. Who knows if they're even real? They might be fucking AI, but those people fucking hate me. So I don't think they want to see the good or any of the positive things that I do. And I understand that. That's the world we live in. We're divided as humans. There's so much hatred in the world, and we can't seem to find more love, and it's pretty sad.
And the last question for me about your walkout. You walked out to that down, a.k.a. Kilo classic, Lean Like a Cholo. draped in the Mexican flag colors. I mean, what was the thought process going to that? And actually, I'll just say, I'm surprised you know that song.
Yeah, that was one of my songs I danced to as a kid growing up. But it was sort of like an ode to his dad. I wore the same outfit that his dad always wore walking into fights. So it was a respect to his dad, but also that's what I said when I got in the ring. I said, I'm going to be your daddy tonight.
Last question.
Jake Paul.
Asim.
How you doing? I just want to say, I'm sure Nikisa, Mike, a lot of people at MVP Promotion feel the same way. You made me proud tonight. I seen you start this boxing
I want to
game.
clap for that.
No
It
doubt.
takes a big man to say that.
I seen you start in boxing and you were tough. That's it. You couldn't put 2-3 punches together or nothing. You were tough. I've seen you come a long way. Even from when we were supposed to fight, you still continue to grow. You showed a great jab tonight. You showed good defense. You controlled the ring. You're really learning this, and I give you the utmost respect in that.
Thank you, man.
Now, my question is, I got 2 questions. My question is, are you tired of the negativity you get because of your opponents? Because you bring the fight. You throwing the punches, but it seems like you don't have a dance partner to get in there and boogie with.
No, I think what a lot of people don't realize is I neutralize a lot of my opponent's stuff with footwork, movement, feints, and then they can't get past the jab when I'm working. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't really care what people say at the end of the day because every single time I just prove myself more and more, and slowly that's turning the tide.
Are we ever going to see you versus KSI?
Man, well, who knows? Who knows? We've been trying to make it happen, and it's just on their side. They don't want to make it happen, right? Look at the person who is consistently fighting anyone, anytime, any place, continuing to go, continuing to do it, continuing to negotiate with people, and make things happen, and make compromises with different teams and this and that. And then he's just there dropping meme songs. So at the end of the day, I think you can look through that. He's going to say a lot of shit. It's propaganda on both sides, but look who's really fighting all the time and making these fights happen for the past 5 years, and it's me.
Last thing, I got to ask you, because everybody asks me, when could we...
Man, take a ticket.
You know?
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Really appreciate the media.
Much love. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Hey, man. Thanks for being a gentleman. Straight up.
Thank you.